the U400s and what to look out for, which is the basically our most popular model of the underpinner, the Alpha underpinner. So I'll hand it over to Alan, and he can start off first.
Yeah, g'day guys. As Andrew was saying, this is the U400s. Basically, it's same as the old Migra 44, which either most of you will have or someone you know will have. They're quite extensively throughout the picture framing industry. Yeah, so it's a pneumatically driven machine, and it's pneumatically driven. It's to make sure that all the air supplied to the machine is dry air, no water in the system. So that's what will kill anything that's pneumatically driven. So your air compressor needs to be checked once a month or less, depending on how much water is getting into the system. On the 44 or U400, we do have a filter regulator system here, which the first bowl will actually catch some water. So you can actually drain that from this little knob here. Just turn that and lift it up, and that'll just drain any water that's in the system. The next is a lubrication system. So that's filled with an air tool oil or hydraulic vapor oil. What that does is it lubricates the valves, which just a drop or two of oil into the system lubricates all the valves. So you need to make sure that you do have oil in there.
How often do you have to add oil into a machine like this?
Could be every 6 months, 12 months, 18 months, depending on how much you use the machine. If you've not used any oil in the last 12 months, 2 years, maybe your regulator might be jammed, might need to be cleaned out or replaced. Or if it's using way too much too quickly, there is an adjustment we can set on that as well. Also with the machine, as it's pneumatically driven, when it goes through its cycles, you will hear a gush of air as each valve opens, but you shouldn't hear any leakage of air in any of the strokes. So while it's sitting silent, as it is, when the clamps go down, when the hammer comes up, you shouldn't hear any other leaking. If there is, it means you're getting a leak through one of the valves or one of the seals, you know, the hammer, the top clamp, the rear clamp, anything like that.
The new pressure clamping system, Alan, do you want to elaborate on this?
Yep.
And the way it works?
So what the U400s has come up with a couple of different clamping systems opposed to what you used to. The other one was a little lever that turned around, had some little notches in here. What could happen is it would slip up and down or it would wear out. What they've done now is they've got a little pin that you can release and just lift up, and it will lock into place. So it's easier to set your heights. Next is a new pad system. So before you'd have to replace this whole pad if the rubber was damaged. So what we have now is removable rubbers. So you just plug the rubber on.
So they're in accordance to the different types of timbers.
Yep. Yep. So there's 3 different types of rubbers. We have a blue rubber, which is your softest rubber. We have a white rubber, which is the medium one, and a black one, which is for very hard timber. So yeah, all you need to do is replace these if they're damaged, clip them on, stick it in place. Yep.
Fantastic. And in general, the clamping system on a pneumatic underpinner, as opposed to perhaps a step down, maybe the Migra 3, the U300, or
yep,
even perhaps a manual underpinner. Can you just quickly give us an overview on the comparisons between perhaps a manual underpinner as opposed to pneumatic in terms of its clamping system and its advantages?
Yep. With this system, your moulding always stays still, and you move the clamping mechanism via this handle here. So the moulding will always stay stable. Where if you come to Migra 3, the clamping system and the nail system will stay stable, but you move the moulding around the system. So The foot operator is exactly the same.
Yep.
You clamp down, top system comes down, but you move the moulding. So, and the difference, as you can see, this one is a table mounted system. You actually mount it into a table. The U400 comes on a stand, so you can move it around. You can work from the back, work from the front. You can also tilt this on an angle so that you can put a header board on it, so you have less floor space.
On some of the underpinners, and particularly the U400s, there is an adjustable fence. What's the advantage of that, as opposed to something with a set 45?
Yep. So on the U400s, sorry, you have two different adjustabilities. So you can adjust the fence is in tilt. So with some of our mouldings or mouldings that are in the system, the bottom edge and the back edge is not completely flat. They might have a little ramp on it, so that you can adjust the ramp on this to meet the moulding. Also, we do have a 45 adjustment here. So if your timber is a little bit not straight or not cut exactly right, you can adjust the 90 degree to bring your joint in. But it is a double-edged sword, because when you adjust something that's out of 90, by the time you get around to the last bit, it can be a little bit out, but depending on how your moulding is, you might be able to get away with it.
Just touching on the clamping system here on the pneumatic underpinner. One of the common questions I get from framers is how critical it is to have that horizontal clamp in place when joining. What's your views, Alan, on that? Is that something that's critical in terms of joining everyday mouldings?
Yes and no. What it can do is, by pushing the clamp down, it actually forces the joint really tight into the fences. But in some mouldings, it can actually open the back as well. So in some cases, it's a 50-50 whether this is actually going to be right for you, and sometimes it won't be, sometimes it will be. But definitely putting it in there and just giving it a bit of a jiggle will actually pull the joint in really tight.
Yeah. I think we'll hit Cyber World out there if there's any questions at present on underpinners. If you've got any maintenance questions for Alan, please hit them now. Send them through so we can hit it one by one. Once we touch on the underpinners, we're going to head over to the more circular teams. So if there's anyone with some questions on the underpinner, please feel free to send it through.
Alan, what would you do if you noticed an air leak?
Find out where it's coming from first. Sometimes it might be just the hose fitting on the regulator. If it's under the machine, as I said before, it might be one of the valves that's just about to go, or it might be one of the seals in either the hammer seal or one of the clamps. Any air leak is a telltale sign that something's going to fail in the near future. So you want to get on top of it if it's constantly leaking. If it's just a quick gush through the cycles, it might be just normal, and maybe one of the silencers is broken and might sound different. But if it's a constant leak, you'll need to get looked at.
You said it's a constant leak at the bottom.
Yep. Yep. Yeah, it would need to be looked at to find out where it's coming from. And it's a hard task to know exactly which one, because there's about 5 different valves in there. And it could be the valve itself, or it could be one of the cylinders leaking.
What happens when the outside edge is open again?
The outside edge. On the back edge of the frame. The biggest thing that these guys get blamed for is the way the joint is, but it's not necessarily the V-nailer's fault. All the problems may be because of the timber or from the cutting. So either your saw or your guillotine. The easiest way to test whether it's your guillotine or your V-nailer is to put your moulding on a flat surface and just slide them together. And if they look perfectly just by sliding them together, it might be something to do with your V-nailer. But if it's not looking perfectly just by putting it onto a flat surface, well then it's nothing to do with your V-nailer. Another thing to look at is the back of your fence, because a lot of people do use glue on your mouldings. If at the back edge your fences have built up of glue, they won't sit nice and it will cause a lot of issues. Some people like to get a Stanley knife and clean that glue off. I wouldn't suggest it at all. It does take material off the steel. The glue is a water-based glue, so what you could do is just wet a rag and just get it damp and wipe it off, or use a paint scraper and just lightly scrape it off.
Is the plunger suitable for the older machines like the Minigraph 44?
Yeah, the 44 will have the plunge, the rear clamp, exactly, or you're talking about the top clamping system. Because if you have an older type of 44 and you want this setup, you can retrofit this whole arm so that you can adjust like this. So yes, it comes on the new system, but you can retrofit the 44. Also, the Minigraph 3 has the same setup, so you can retrofit that as well.
Got another question here asking, is there a good way to measure the angle of the joint to see if it's at a 90-degree angle?
You can get protractors that are already set to 90 degrees that you can put in there. Engineering shops will have a square, a 90-degree square that you could use. That's probably the best scenario.
Yeah. One other thing, Alan. One of the common situations, particularly a custom framer, is that they'll have one compressor hooked up and they'll have multiple machines hooked up to the compressor, whether it's a computerized mat cutter or an air gun or an underpinner. Is it critical to have an independent compressor hooked up to your underpinner?
It all depends on the air volume for your tank. So if your tank's big enough, it will cope. You just don't want your compressor running all the time because it will burn out the motors. But if you're using multiple machines, check your pressure gauge into the machine and just watch to see how much pressure you're actually losing from the gauge. And if another machine is working and the pressure gauge is dropping while you're using it, obviously the tank that's supplying the machines, or it's not big enough, or yeah, you need to run a separate machine.